Welcome to Celina Radio.com. I'm your host, Ron Lyons, and this is the voice of Celina, Texas. Guys, welcome to another episode of Celina Radio.com. That's right, this is not your grandfather's boring podcast. Actually, your grandfather didn't have a podcast, but your friends do, and it's boring because it's not this podcast. But we're not going to talk about that right now. What we're going to talk about is what you just heard, which was the amazing voice of Haolly Fisher. She is the guest on the show today, and she happens to be a person with many varied interests, including she's an architect, she's a huge fan of Celina, Texas, and she's a barbershop singer. Now, that's not something you run across every day, but we happen to get her on the show because she really loves preserving historic homes. And as you know, I'm very much into preserving historic homes. We have quite a few right here in Celina, Texas. We're doing some restaurants. We're doing some amazing other things with these buildings. And so when I found out that Haolly Fisher is a preservationist, that's somebody who loves to save these old homes, I was like, she's got to be on the show. The barbershop singing part, well, that was just bonus. We're going to talk about a lot of cool things today, and I hope that you've been on my page on Facebook. It's called The Best of Celina, and if you like this kind of stuff, if you like learning about your friends and your neighbors and how amazing Celina is, go check out The Best of Celina on Facebook. It's absolutely incredible. And guys, for right now, sit back, relax, and let's enjoy a nice little conversation with Haolly Fisher. Guys, I'm here right now with somebody that is very, very interested in Celina. And when I say interested, I mean she's got a passion for things that some of us just kind of take for granted. And what that is the historic homes in Celina, Texas. And her name is Haolly Fisher. Haolly, how are you doing today?
I'm great.
Very good. And the reason that you're so interested in these older homes, you kind of have a passion for that and stuff, is because your job actually has to do with that. So tell me, what is it that you do?
So I am an architect. I own my own firm. And just to get right into it, at the age of 10, I was in San Antonio, and I was in the King William District, and I fell in love with the historic homes down there. And so I went to school and got a certificate in historic preservation, and alongside with my architecture degree.
So you knew at an early age that, hey, I've got a passion for this. Something just spoke to you. You said, I like this.
I do. I love that you can see the history of a space, that sometimes there's ghost lines left over where you can see that there used to be a door here, there used to be a stair here, or this used to be the outside and it's been brought inside. So it's almost like you can see how the building grew as the people who lived in it needed it to change with their lives and their lifestyles. I love that.
So you and I have talked a little bit before the show today, and we're literally sitting right now in a very old home. It's got a lot of history. We're sitting in a room that was actually only added, I think, like maybe in the 80s or 90s. So we would have been out on a porch at some point in this home's history. But I absolutely love all of the old homes and have invested pretty substantially in a lot of old homes. And I'm super excited to have you on the show today to talk about all of this stuff. And I know so many people in Celina love our history. We love the things like these old homes and the life that has gone on in all of these homes. And that speaks to you and it speaks to me. So I think it's so cool. So you just said ghost lines, and that's a term I've never heard before, but I see that quite often. So maybe the floor might have wood floors, and you can tell there used to be like a wall here, you know, and things like that. So, and there's just so much life that has happened in these homes. So what's kind of your sweet spot age-wise? Like, okay, do you like the 50-year-old homes? Do you like the 100? Like, what's the sweet spot for Haolly?
That is like making me pick a favorite child.
Okay, but so tell me where the cutoff is then. So you like all the old stuff, but like, can you dig the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, or is there somewhere back before that, yeah, I kind of like it up to about this era?
So because I know that, okay, let me start with this. There is an accepted understanding that at 50 years, things start becoming cool again for some weird reason.
Right.
Weird reason.
So I'm 55 years old.
You are cool again.
I'm cool again.
Yes.
I am cool again. Okay, I like that. So if nothing else today, I'm going to leave here knowing I'm cool again. So
yes.
no, I'm sorry. So
that's okay.
At 50 years, things kind of come back into fashion, so to speak. Architecturally, you're speaking.
Right. Style-wise, for sure. And so, everyone right now is, I say everyone, but a lot of people are into the mid-century modern or mid-century mod. Everybody's talking about that. And how old are those homes and those interiors? They are from the 60s and 70s, which is 50 years old. And 15, 20 years ago, everyone thought they were obnoxious and ugly and wood paneling and weird ceilings. Let's not do any of this. But all of a sudden, we like it again. So the same thing is about to happen to the 80s. We just don't know it, but it's coming. So I'm not going to turn my nose up at the 80s.
We're getting a little insider tip right now. So if you're listening and you're anticipating redoing a property or something like that, reach for the 80s. Mm-hmm. Reach for the 80s. You heard it here first, folks. So that's kind of what's going on. So talk to me a little bit. So in this particular house, and I know you haven't looked at it much, for those who are listening, almost everybody who knows this house is kind of like the famous blue house off the square. So we're just off the square, the blue house with the yellow door. What do you see? What speaks to you about this house? Like what when a historical or a history-loving architect walks in here, What do you see? What do you think?
Well, I am terrible at statistics. So if you ask me when something was built, I'm going to throw a number at it and I might be off by 20 years. But there was a time period when there were a lot of these homes being built that were mostly square in nature, and they usually had they were kind of broken up into 4 rooms on the inside.
Right.
And they had a sloping roof on all 4 sides, which made a pyramid for the roof, and that name has become known as Southern Pyramidal.
Oh, wow.
And so you can now that you know the square house, and like this one, it's been added onto, but the square house with a roof sloping on all 4 sides, you will see them all over Celina. They're all over Celina, which is probably about the time when the city was either getting established or doing well.
Right.
People had a lot of money. They came in and they built these homes.
Gotcha.
They might have been kit homes, but not necessarily, but it was the style. And so this house I love it. And I love the tapered columns on the front porch. That's another little detail that people were adding, that they wanted to be different from the turned columns that were also on Southern Pyramidal houses. But you're going to see them all over, and you're going to recognize them. And sometimes they were 2 stories also, and they call them 4 squares or Southern Pyramidals when you're down here because we're in the South. Right.
Very, very cool. So in this particular house, our goal is always to preserve the architecture, the history, and respect the past, and do all of those things. We don't want to have to do anything that's going to be destructive to the home, if at all possible. Now, our goal for this particular house is to do a restaurant here, and it serves. That's probably the best use for it currently, being needing more places to eat, entertain, to do things like that. This in proximity to the square, it's great. It's got really excellent outdoors and that sort of thing. But what I like to do is I like to tie things to literal history. So being that we're kind of doing a certain type of restaurant, Prohibition era, 1920s kind of deal, I have wanted for a long time to find something to connect this home to that time period. Mm-hmm. So I do metal detecting. I'm a little bit of a nerd like that. I like to get out in the woods on my own and lose myself literally and find old things buried in the ground, old coins, whatever. And in this particular case, I wanted to tie it back to the 20s. So I'm metal detecting the backyard here, and I find a key fob. Not a fob, a tag from a hotel in Galveston, Texas.
Fun.
That only existed between 1920 and I believe in 1929 it burned down, okay? So during the 20s.
Many fires on the Strand.
Correct.
Right.
And from room number 13, so that's probably why someone kept it, because how unique is that? It's metal, has the name of the hotel stamped on it. So by default, that's nearly 100 years old or a little over 100 years old. We don't know the exact year, but between 20 and 29. And when I did my research, that hotel was kind of at the epicenter, the hub of a lot of Prohibition era stuff going on, as you know, Galveston was kind of known for. And I just thought, okay, this is meant to be. I found that in this yard. It's from that hotel during Prohibition 100 years ago. And now that's kind of what we're moving forward with. So if you were going to do something, I know you design a lot of things. Would taking on a project like this, like designing for like a restaurant, but trying to, you know, preserve the integrity and the history and the architecture, is that something that you would do?
Oh my goodness, that would be my... Absolutely. I'm not sure how else to say it other than...
I can see it on your face
It would
right
be
now.
perfect. Well, and so I want to tell you a little bit about my business, that my business partner, she and I formed the business together. Her name is Clara Carlisle, and we were college roommates. And so I have known her for a long time, very long time. I won't say how long. And she went down a path where she was doing commercial architecture, and I went down the historic preservation path, which led me to residential as well.
Right.
And so, but now we've been in business together for 17 years, and she mostly does her own projects by herself. We have an intern that works with us as well, but she's working on her own projects by herself. They're all commercial. They're mostly new, sometimes in historic buildings. We have a few down on the square in McKinney. And then I'm only doing residential, and I don't get to touch historic preservation very much because, in my experience as an architect, most of the money in historic preservation is in the government buildings. And there's only a few architecture firms out there that are handling the government contracts.
Gotcha.
And so being able to work on an historic building, a home especially, and combining it with Clara's knowledge of restaurants, all things restaurants, I mean, we would go to town on this and have, you know.
And what's so cool about that is, let's just say that, you know, if you took on a project similar to this and you did that, it has life, like, you know, so you're doing things to preserve the history, right? That's just a given. And because a lot of people would want to come in and knock this down. That's just a fact. I mean, a lot of people, they're just kind of forward-minded. They don't really look backwards too much, and they don't appreciate maybe...
Saving stuff is expensive. You have to want to do
very
it.
much so. Very much so. To bring a 100-year-old home up to the codes and the standards that are required today and become ADA compliant, everything else that you have to do certainly requires a budget. And so, you know, knocking it down, that would just never happen for us. That's a just forget it from the minute you think of it. That's not going to happen. But it's looking forward and trying to design something now that's actually going to be utilized for the future. So you're kind of in that you're at that middle point. You're at that fulcrum of this really significant past, and then what's potential, what's possible in the future. What a great spot for you to be in. That's got to be amazing.
It's incredibly fun. It's
very rewarding, I would imagine, when you actually see your work. And it's right there in front of you. It's tangible. You can walk up. You can walk into it. You can look at it. And you can say, wow, look at this.
Well, I just think they did so many things right. Obviously, it would not be standing if they hadn't done anything right. They had this understanding of the golden ratio. They had, you know, the proportion of the windows were correct to the area of the facade. The roof pitches were the right pitch. Nobody was trying to copy something and make it new but make it bigger, because everybody wants 10-foot ceilings now and everybody wants argon-filled windows.
Right.
And so, you know, they were just creating something beautiful, and they did that, and then it stood the test of time. And then I get to come in we get to come in and maybe we restore it. And this is exactly what you're saying. We can restore it to a particular time period because things changed over time. When it was built, it was one color and it was this shape and it was used in this way. And then 20 years later, a different family moved in or they had children or whatever. And the building grew and changed.
Right.
And so now it's growing and changing again, but we want to take it back to something that it was once. We want to respect it and honor it, but we want to give it new life with a new function. And so to me, it's almost like designing a home or designing a restaurant. Anybody can do that. But being able to take something that's already there and honor it and do something new in it, that's where the challenge is. And then challenges are fun.
You're literally speaking my language. And so that's exactly what we're trying to accomplish, not only in this house, but in others around Celina. And we focus mostly on Celina. So that's why it was so important for me to get you on this show, because you're literally speaking my language. So we love this stuff. And we could probably sit here for 10 hours. We actually, in my pre-show prep, say that 10 times fast, pre-show prep, yes. Typically about 10 or 15 minutes. You and I spent an hour because we were just talking about all this stuff.
I know, and I wasn't done. So
yeah, you're like, I could keep going. So yeah, I think that's amazing. And so, but we want to learn a little bit about you. You've been in Celina now for 10 years or so. Mm-hmm. And you've got a property here, and you've got, I just have to ask, how old is your house?
Well, I actually
1980.
No, I live in a brand new house, but the acreage, the house, I don't know how old it is, but not that old. It's
so you're not
been built
in the historic thing because there was not an option for that. It's a pull on me, and I want to live in a historic house, but then I have this great desire to design my own house, and right.
I keep getting really close, and then something happens, and I don't get to do it.
I fully understand. I don't happen to live in a historic home either.
Yeah.
So
I want 2 homes. Can I have 2?
You can actually, You can do that, or you can vicariously live by helping people like me accomplish our mission, and probably make some very good money in the process. So tell me about Celina. So roughly 10 years ago, you come to Celina. What in the heck made you choose Celina? Out of all the places in the world you could live, why Celina?
So we have to go back to a little town in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay.
My parents, I grew up in Ohio, and I actually grew up north of Cincinnati.
Right.
And we were out in the middle of nowhere. We were in a great school district and we were close to shopping, but for some reason, the home that my parents chose, I think we had an acre and a half. We were in a neighborhood of acreage type, acre and a half type lots. And so I was spoiled, and I grew up in a home that had a lot of land on it and was out in the middle of nowhere. And I had to drive a long way to get to school and ride on the bus, but it didn't matter to me. I just love the open and I love the trees of Ohio. I love the prairies of Texas. I love the hills. It's all I just love landscape and scenery. And so when we're living in Little Elm, and we started looking at property with my parents. We wanted to move somewhere with my parents. We lived on the same street, and we looked at various places just north of 380. And there was something about Celina that I was drawn to. It was
it's magic.
It is, and I think it's these valleys and these hills where you can sit at the high school and look across that valley to the sunset.
Absolutely, isn't it amazing?
And vice versa.
Yes, and I also you're going to learn all this nerd stuff about me. I like to fly a drone.
Oh.
And that particular place where you just said you're at the high school and you look out across where the land just drops down right there, absolutely gorgeous. So it was things like that drew you here. You're here now. How much do you love this community?
I love it. I mean, I can't say anything other than everybody here feels like a friend before I've met them.
Nice.
To get very candid, we moved here because we felt that everyone would share our values, and we liked what Celina schools had to offer, but we liked that they were small. And then just kind of asking around, everyone would say that the values in the school were really good. So we knew we were going to send our children somewhere that we could trust.
Right.
And that's really what did it, was knowing that I was going to be somewhere that my kids were going to, whether they were with me or they were with strangers, basically, that they were going to be raised with my values and my morals. And that's what I think about Celina, is that there's a lot of people here, new and old, who came here for the values.
Guys, I hope you're enjoying this episode of CelinaRadio.com. As a matter of fact, if you enjoy it half as much as I enjoy creating it for you, then I'm going to call that a win. And you know what? Haolly Fisher's awesome. She is just someone who has a passion for Celina. She loves architecture. She loves doing the preservation of the historic homes. And it just so happens that she's a great singer on top of that. And with that intro that you heard at the beginning of the episode, that was me having her sing with herself. She had to sing one part, and then I recorded her singing the second part, and then we layered them together and created a video that you're going to love watching. Now, it's not done in an acoustically good environment. It was done in an empty room in a house, recorded with a cell phone, and she had no idea that it was coming. She walked into that interview and had no clue that I was going to ask her to do that. So she was a great sport and did it, and it turned out beautifully. She's got an amazing voice, and I was very, very, very happy that she was willing to do that. So you've heard that on the intro. Go find the video. It's on my page on the Best of Celina, and it's pretty short, but it's really awesome. I think you're going to like it. And speaking of the Best of Celina, if you are not on the Best of Celina group on Facebook, join. It's incredible. We're growing at the rate of about 100 people per day. And it is literally the Best of Celina. The best personalities, people with small businesses, people sharing things about their kids' accomplishments, selling different things. I mean, there's just literally, you can come on there and hang out and discover the best of Celina. So go check it out, guys. It's super awesome. And there's so many benefits that come along with it. Like, we have a great networking group. We've got some other fun things coming up, and it's all free. It's a labor of my love for this city and for you. So go check it out. For right now, guys, we're going to get back to this interview. It's almost over, but I think there's something funny at the very, very end. You might want to listen past the last little bit of this and see what happens at the very end of this, and no, it didn't have anything to do with her singing. So one of the things that people really like to know about all the guests on this show is like what you like to do, where you like to eat and stuff like that. So I asked you earlier where you like to eat, and it was a very interesting and different answer because it's not one I've heard before. Or if I have, maybe just once. It's not common, although it should be. And where is it that Haolly likes to eat in Celina, Texas?
I like to eat at the gas station.
Okay, but that's
Celina Asian Bistro is my favorite.
That's awesome. So it's not like you're going into 7-Eleven and getting some 6-hour-old fried burritos or something. You go next door to the Asian Bistro, and what do you like to get there?
We eat a variety of things there. They're the sweetest, kindest people.
Aren't they? They're so nice.
And it's just the three of them working so hard. And I want to go back there and help them, even though I'd probably make more mess. But my favorite is the summer roll, which is a riceless sushi roll.
Wow. Okay.
And then, everything we get there, though. We get the General Tso's, we get the chicken fried rice, we get the tuna tower, it's the best. It's amazing, really good, really fresh sushi, really well prepared, and
it's one of those. It's kind of like a little. For a long time, it was kind of like a secret. Like, not everybody knew about it. Like, there it is. But do you really go in next to a 7-Eleven and get that kind of food? Maybe not. Well, guess what? Now you do. Have you seen at their busiest times? They literally have a multi-hour wait.
Yes.
It's nuts.
We know about it, and we prepare for it. We know when we have to order to beat the rush so that we can have it, even if we have to sit on it. We absolutely know it.
So you're calling it midnight. Now, I'm going to need dinner for tonight.
Tomorrow.
Yes. Yes. 12 hours from now, I'm going to need, I understand. But that, you know what that does? That just screams of the popularity, right? And a lot of hard work and building up a base of people who love what you do, being very consistent in your quality and putting together something that's amazing. Not very much unlike most businesses, right? That's what you're supposed to do. So you've got a place here in Celina. You've been here for 10 years. You like the Asian bistro as your place to eat. And there's something else that's very interesting and unique about you that some people know, but I bet not everybody knows. And that is that you actually sing as a barbershop. Now you're gonna have to help me with the terminology here. I'm gonna tear it up, but a barbershop like quartet type deal. What is that exactly?
Well, we call ourselves barbershoppers.
Okay,
So
you're
you can
a
call me a
barbershopper.
barbershopper.
Okay.
And the verb is I quartet.
You quartet.
Yeah, I quartet. I compete.
Do you have a T-shirt that says I quartet?
No,
I think you
but I
should.
know someone who can make me T-shirts, and will in about 5 minutes.
Right.
So I have sung in several quartets. I started out. I should back up with the origin story.
Okay.
My sister graduated from high school and moved away, and then my mother decided she needed a hobby.
Right.
So she answered, this is in 1987, she answered an ad for free vocal lessons in Cincinnati.
Wow.
And when she got there, it was a women's barbershop chorus.
Oh, wow.
And she says that she fell in love the minute she heard sounds coming out of their mouth, because it really is, the barbershop art form is amazing. There's a craft to it. There's things that we can do with our voices and four voices together that you would have, the goosebumps on your arm is just the beginning.
Oh, I can imagine.
And so she joined the chorus, and at the time, it didn't occur to me that I could join. I went to rehearsals, I stood on the risers, I learned parts, I became friends with these people who were nowhere near my age. Most of the women that were in the choruses were 30, 40s and up. And it's a competitive organization. And so each year, choruses and quartets, they go to a regional competition, and then if they win their region, they get to go to the international competition, which is usually held in the U.S., but we do have 31 regions around the world, and we have very competitive choruses that are not U.S.-based.
Wow.
And so my mother's chorus won their region several times, and she went to international competition in Salt Lake City, New Orleans, Fort Lauderdale, all over. That's where she went, and I would follow her to those contests. Well, then I went to college, and I did some singing in college, but didn't really even think about it. There wasn't a chorus in College Station. And when I graduated, I moved to Dallas. And the weekend, we are moving me into my new apartment, and my mom's frantically looking for a phone book, and she finds it, and she gets off the phone, and she says, "You're going to rehearsal on Tuesday."
Okay.
Oh, that's right. This thing, I'd kind of forgotten about it. And she said, well, the premier chorus in the organization is located right here in Dallas. And you have to go join. You have to go see them. And I said, okay, sure, whatever. That's fine. So a couple days later, we went to rehearsal, and it was like having all the air pulled out, and your face is in a wind tunnel, and it's the most beautiful thing you've ever heard. And they're like, well, if you might be interested in joining us, you can take an audition packet. In a few weeks, you can. And I was like, give it to me now. I want it. And can I audition tonight? No, you can't. So I joined in 2001.
Nice.
And I went to international competition with that chorus. Oh, goodness. I think 5 times.
Wow. And
in that time, we won twice. They actually are the current international champions. They won last October. And then about 14 years ago, when my daughter was about 6 weeks old, and I decided it was a good time to start quartetting. And so I formed a quartet with some other young ladies in my chorus, and we went to competition, and we came in dead last. at regional. That is my claim to fame. Dead last. And actually, that was the only thing we wanted to achieve.
Right.
Everyone would ask us, because you get coached. There's this whole world of people. You get coached as a group, and these coaches are encouraging you and trying to make you better and teaching you things. And what's your goal? And we're like, we just don't want to come in last. Ha ha ha. And we came in last.
And you came in last.
Yeah. So it took me a couple years. I joined another quartet. That one came in 7th. I joined another quartet, got as high as 3rd. And this is just at the regional level.
Right.
And then about 6 years ago, I started quartetting with one of my best friends, and she had won previously. She's been in the organization for years, and we joined up with I sing baritone, which is the middle harmony, and she sings lead. And then we have a tenor who sings up high, that's like soprano, and then we have the bass who sings low, almost like the men's tenor.
Right.
No, I'm sorry. Well, I guess, yes, well, in your world, the men's tenor.
Right.
And baritone. And they sing very low. So we went to competition and we won. Nice. We won the regional competition, which sent us to international. And most quartets, there are 50 quartets who compete each international, and most quartets would be happy to be in the top 25. You're in the top half, fantastic. And we came in 6th.
That's amazing.
It was something I never ever dreamed would happen. My going to competitions with my mom, you'd see the women who had won in previous years, and you knew who they were, because when you win, you get a crown.
A literal crown.
Yes. And these women are walking around and you're just awestruck because they won. They worked so hard and however many hours and years, and they get, they win. And once you win, you get a crown. You can wear it wherever you want if you want to, and you can win multiple times. And so I remember thinking, I'd love to win a crown someday. And then, when I came in last at regional, I was like, well, I'll be happy with winning regional.
Right.
So then we went, we run regional, we get in 6th place, and we're in the top 10. It's an amazing place to be. And I love, so we went back several years, and just from time and COVID was very hard on our organization.
I can imagine.
Very hard on our organization. We're international, and we've got people who can't even, they can't come back into the country for competitions, or they could, but it's very difficult. And so we eventually made it to 2nd place.
Wow.
And when the first time we won 2nd place, we lost by 2 points.
Wow.
Out of 3,000.
Amazing.
And so it was like, oh yeah, that's, I'm just happy. I was incredibly happy to have the 2nd place. But so unfortunately, we just decided it was time to be done. And, we'd been together for a while, time to move on and try other things. After you've come in twice 2nd, you're like, maybe this isn't working. I mean, there's people who would die to be 2nd place, myself included. I'm there now, so I don't have to die. But yeah, it's been the secret part of my life that it's given me amazing friendships. Right. It's taught me, my voice has improved, in ways I never thought possible. I didn't even like my voice. I still kind of don't. And then, it gives you this confidence. And I've taken the confidence that I've gotten from the singing and being on stage, and it's not just singing because you're also performing. If you go and you can search for Sweet Adelines International on YouTube and find thousands and thousands of videos. But if you'd like to find my quartet, we were called Titanium.
Titanium, and somebody could actually find that on YouTube.
Absolutely, right. It's super easy. We have, a few videos out there. Our most popular video is our 2019 finals
nice
video, and that has about 35,000 views.
Wow, that's awesome.
And so there's entertainment that goes on. You're not just singing. So it's taught me a lot of things, and it's made me more confident even in my business relationships too. That sometimes, how some people say, well, you go into a room and you imagine that everybody's in their underwear and it makes you less nervous. I actually imagine that everyone in there is a barbershopper.
Oh, wow.
And that we all have something in common, and that's how much love and unity and everybody wants everybody else to succeed. You are competing against each other, but you care about everybody in there getting better, and you all have this commonality that you don't have with anyone else in the
How
outside
amazing
world.
is that? That's super cool.
So yeah, that's my thing.
So I have to ask. So it's the barbershop concept and stuff, and we all know kind of where that came from, and it just makes certain visions in my mind of like these men standing in a old timey barbershop with the barber pole outside spinning, and they've got their little straw hats on and their little vests and that sort of thing. Have you actually ever sang in a barbershop?
No, and I tried to get my quartet to go. I would say there's this barbershop that's opening on Preston Road, and we should go down there and just be like, we're going to sing for you. And for some reason, we could never. I always thought that would be the coolest thing.
I think the most amazing thing ever. And if I had a barbershop, I would love that. I mean, that would just be amazing to have you guys come in. And I guess, it was the actual barbers that did it back in time. And now it's a thing. It's like a big thing. And I had no idea it's a big thing.
It's a secret cult.
Anything that you can get into and earn a crown is a big deal. That's a big deal. And I'm certain that COVID was really, really rough on it. But now that we're kind of moving past all that, so are you actively singing today, or what's your status right now?
I actually am. So I'm currently without quartet. And I would love to sing in a quartet again. I just haven't. It's like a marriage relationship, and you, especially with the women's, you really have to, find somebody that you click with on a personal level as well.
Right.
But I have. So you make friends all over the world, and we have some very good friends. And I say we. This is myself and my lead. Her name is Melody, by the way.
Okay.
She and I decided that there's a chorus in San Antonio that's going to international this year. And they have a joy about them, and they have a fantastic director. And so we joined that chorus so that we could go to international with them.
Wow.
And I drive to San Antonio every 2 weeks to go to rehearsal, and I'm singing with them, and then I also, in addition to the Sweet Anna Lines, which I've been a member of for 20 plus years. We've started a new organization that right now is just about getting together and singing. There's not Sweet Anna Lines is chapters and competition, and it's been around for 90 years, or no, I guess 80 years, and so it's got a lot of structure to it. But myself and Melody and two ladies from Tennessee, we got together and decided we wanted to have an annual retreat, which might turn into something later, but just a place to sing whatever we want to sing and retreat together once or twice a year, get together. And that organization is called True Harmony.
Oh, nice.
TRU Harmony.
Okay.
We're on Facebook, True Harmony acapella.com.
So if somebody, not .com, if it's on Facebook, but they can go in and do the TRU, the True, and then find you like that on Facebook. So there is an actual Facebook page then for that.
Yes. So we don't have membership, but we do. We basically just keep in touch with everybody who's interested. So if you are a female and you would like to sing a cappella and you want to get into this art form, then you follow us, and we'll keep you abreast of all of the retreats that we're having, and maybe things change and we have a membership and you get to. That would just mean basically that you get access to all of our body of music that we're purchasing, because you have to pay for music. You know how that is.
Sure.
So that's what True Harmony is right now, and it's just basically singing a cappella for fun.
It sounds awesome. It sounds super cool. So I want to go back real quick because something that I think you just mentioned, that you can find your singing thing on Facebook. If somebody's interested in your architectural stuff, how are they going to find you?
We have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have our website. So our website is just 708studios.com.
Okay.
The number 708 studios with an S.com. That's our website.
Gotcha.
And you can also find us on Facebook. That's we have a lot of projects. We post our polished, finished, professional photos on our website. Facebook has, here's this project under construction, here's this project we're just getting started on. Sort of photos in there. So that one is just 708 Studios on the Facebook.
Okay, very cool. So if people want to find you there, so they know how to find your singing, they know how to find your architectural stuff. But, on this show, we don't just cover stuff like where you like to eat and what you do and who you are and why you're in Celina. We like to do something kind of fun sometimes too. And so today, and you don't know this, well, you might know this person. I actually think you do know this person. I've got somebody coming in to sing with you today.
Okay.
So would you be up to the challenge of doing a little unrehearsed, kind of unexpected singing with someone today?
You're asking a barbershopper if I can sing unrehearsed. The answer is yes.
So are you curious who the person is?
I would love to know.
It's actually Haolly Fisher. It's
Did you clone me? Okay.
Yes, we're going to clone you today. You're going to get to sing with yourself through a little bit of video magic. I'm going to give you the opportunity today you can choose whatever you want. And obviously we're not in an acoustically, it's not even that great for a podcast in here.
Yep.
And we had to pause a minute ago because there was some construction going on across the street and we had to stop for a moment. So it's not the most acoustically perfect place. And
so you're saying I'm not going to get auto-tune.
You're not going to get auto-tune. You're right. No auto-tune. And it's probably going to be a little rough because I'm doing the video editing and all that stuff. We don't have high-end stuff here, but it's for fun and it's for Celina, Texas. And if you're up to the task, I know that people are going to absolutely love that. So if you are listening to this podcast right now, you're going to want to definitely go find that video and watch it. It's going to be on the YouTube channel and we're going to post it on the Best of Celina page. And right now she's realizing thousands of people are about to see her do her thing. So that's, if you're going to do that. And so if you're just listening, you're not watching the video, then we're going to take a quick pause right here, and it won't sound like very long to you listening. It's just going to sound like a few seconds, and we're going to be right back, and we're going to talk about how that went. And right now we have no idea because this is completely unexpected on her part. When she walked into this house today to do this podcast, she had no idea what she was in store for. So tell me right now, how are you feeling right now, Haolly?
Is that an answer?
She looks a little nervous. It's going to be good though. It's going to be good. So we're going to, just nice and relaxed. It's going to be good. So we're going to hit the pause button for 1 second. If you're listening on audio, we'll be right back within just a couple of seconds. And if you are going to see the video, then by all means, comment on it and tell us what you think about it. It's going to be amazing. Haolly is awesome. It's going to be a fantastic thing, and I can't wait to see it. All right, guys, you may be wondering, first of all, why am I taking a break right here? Well, the reason I'm taking a break right here is because this is the portion of the podcast where I actually recorded Haolly Fisher doing a duet with herself. So while that's actually being recorded in real time on the podcast, I decided to take this break in this moment and put this music here because I want to talk to you very briefly about the Celina real estate market right now. And if you can tell, this is some goofy music, and it's a goofy market right now. It is absolutely nuts out there. There are houses that are sitting there and camping forever and not selling, and other homes are going on the market and selling reasonably quickly. It's literally exactly like this music. It's nuts. If you want to get into that game, it is a fantastic time to buy. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you it's a great time to sell, because unless you price your home appropriately and market it very, very well, it's not a good time to sell. But there are some people out there who are getting fairly desperate to sell their properties, and it's a great time to get out there and take advantage of that. So if you're in that position where you would like to go out there and scoop up an investment property, maybe grab that piece of land you've been wanting for a long time, let me just tell you, now is the time. So give me a phone call, 214-783-5440 or Ron at ronlyons.com. And let's get out there and try to make this little circus thing work in your favor. I assure you, it can be done. Just not everybody can do it. So give me a call. Okay, so we're back, guys. We just did the recording, and I have to ask you, that was maybe your first time singing with this Haolly Fisher person. So give me your idea. What do you think? How was she?
Well, I was impressed with her work ethic. I was impressed, she came and she knew her stuff.
Right.
And no one died.
No one died, so that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Everybody's still here. Seriously, that was awesome. How much fun was that?
Well, you gave me the bug. You gave me the bug again. And I'm like, I love singing anyway as it is, and I love, having other voices involved, and a cappella is just such its own creature, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I need to. So interestingly, I'm going to a barbershop competition tomorrow night, and so I'm gonna get my fill tomorrow night. But man, I need to sing with somebody bad.
That's awesome.
Bad.
Super good. So I enjoyed that. I don't know a whole lot about that, but I know the sounds coming out of your body are awesome and very impressive. I only wish that I could do something like that. I'm doing good to talk here, so that was amazing. Thank you for doing that. It's gonna be a lot of fun. People are gonna enjoy watching that. And this whole interview has been great. Somebody who has a love and a passion for Celina. Somebody who happens to do the kind of architecture and that sort of work that's right up my alley right now, since we're involved in trying to save as many homes as we are in Celina. Yes. And then on top of that, a barbershop singer. So now you didn't quartet in there. Is that a duet?
That was a duet. I can't sing. I wish I could sing all four parts, but we would have been here for 3 days. So I managed to sing the melody and then my part, the harmony that goes with it.
And I have no idea what you're talking about, but it was awesome. It was really good. So Haolly, thank you very much.
Thanks for letting me do it. That was so much fun.
It was fantastic. And guys, that is Haolly Fisher. All right, guys, what did you think about Haolly Fisher? Super cool, right? Everything that I said. Big time fan of Celina, Texas. Loves her job. Preserving historic homes, doing architecture, and that's right, singing in a barbershop quartet. That's a very unique person right there. I was very grateful to have her on the show. Very grateful that she agreed to do it. Very grateful that she agreed to sing with herself too, because that was something awesome and different. So guys, that's gonna wrap it up for today. But like I told you before, I've got something kind of special at the end of this, and that special thing is that I guess a while back I was doing these kind of unique songs that I had found. And somebody said, hey, what happened to the unique songs that you were putting on the end of your podcast? Would you do that again? So I did. I found something really cool. It's only 1.5 minutes long. I really, really like my heritage, being Scottish and Irish, and I found some music that kind of goes along with that. So if you can appreciate that kind of history, you might like this little 1.5 minute song. So take a listen to this. It's super cool. And see if you like it. But anyways, guys, I look forward to seeing you on the next show. And as I always say, stay safe. And of course, the most important thing, God bless. Okay, now we're going to record one more little thing here, and this is something that
you have an evil grin on your face.
Yeah, only people who are listening to the very, very end of this podcast are going to hear this. So most people are going to miss it.
Okay.
But I'm going to ask you a serious, life-altering question. Okay. If you had to fight a horse-sized duck, a horse-sized single one duck, or 100 duck-sized horses, which do you fight? Which does Haolly Fisher fight?
Oh, ducks are mean. I would pick 100 duck-sized horses.
You've got all these little horses running around. And what's your technique? What are you gonna like kick them, or what's the?
Well, do I get any weapons?
No weapons.
No weapons.
No.
Well, goodness, this is so violent.
It's violent. It's not real.
I have boots on and my feet, and there's
There
lots
you
of
go.
kicking, because then that gives me freedom. I kick them. They go a long way. It gives me time to do some other things. But if I had the choice to run, and I can outrun a duck-sized horse, I would outrun the duck-sized horse.
Ducks, by their very nature, are not that fast. But when you shrink a horse down that small, I don't know. Maybe.
I'm imagining like one of those rat terrier dogs.
Right. You want it to be as small as possible. Yep. And then you're going to run. Would you sing to them?
Well, it's like the snake and the flute.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I would use all of my breathing capacity to run.
That's so awesome.